Kako postaneš Slovenec? Z Michaelom Manskim. 12. del. Part 12.
Kako se prepiraš s sosedi?
When Slovenes find out I moved here from abroad, I usually get the same questions.
Zakaj si prišel v Slovenijo?
And
Kako pa ti je všeč tukaj?
these are normal questions a foreigner would get in any country. Eventually, though, the subject always seems to turn towards what I think of Slovenes. What do they like? In my experience, this is the most asked question I get. Slovenes seem to be deeply interested in questions of identity. No American would ask, what are Americans like, to a foreigner? So when people ask me what the defining characteristic of being a Slovene is, I usually say a passion for identity. Slovenes are special in that they enjoy thinking about what being a Slovene means. However, what's interesting to me is that Slovenes seem to have a very different idea of what being a Slovene is. In almost all my conversations, this usually happens.
Michael, kakšni se ti zdimo Slovenci?
Na začetku ste mogoče hladni, ampak...
Potem pa zavisni smo, se ti ne zdi?
Jaz mislim, da...
Ja, zavisni smo, vedno gledamo k sosedom
Jaz
in vedno
mislim,
kaj
da-
imajo.
I would guess that the word envious, or zavist, has come up in nearly all of my conversations with Slovenes. Honestly, I would never notice it, and I can't say that I really have. I just hear it a lot from Slovenes themselves. What I do see, though, are a lot of neighbors who are skregani, and I often hear this sentence.
Ja, pa odkot ima denar?
I don't know if Slovenes are envious or not. However, that might explain one of the great riddles of Slovenia. That riddle is this: why is Slovenia so small? In my experience, Slovenes are some of the most intelligent, creative, motivated, and hard-working people on the planet. They really are. I honestly think that the average Slovene has a better business sense than the average American. Here, at least, it seems like everyone has something going on, or they're looking for something to work on. I still haven't met a single Slovene who does just one thing and that's it. There's always some work on the side or some project that they're into. So why doesn't Slovenia rule the world? It seems like they should by now. I'm still trying to answer that question, but I suspect it may be because they tend to hate each other. There's no real common outside enemy, but man, can Slovenes be hard on each other. I mentioned before that neighbors tend to fight a lot. I don't know how it is in your neighborhood. In mine, it's like World War I, with all kinds of complex alliances and property battles that have been going on for generations. As a foreigner, you have to be very careful not to get pulled in. I spend a lot of time being diplomatic.
Michael, si videl, kaj je naredil sosed?
Kateri sosed?
Ja, tisti tam, tisti butelj.
Kaj pa je naredil?
Kakšen idiot je, to ne moreš verjeti. Včeraj je podrl ograjo in postavil novo. Lahko to verjameš? On je čisto Pa odkot mu denar? Zadnjič je kupil novi avto, zdaj pa ima še denar za ograjo.
V tem trenutku nimam komentarja. Hvala lepa. That's not the best way to do things, though. I have a better tip. What you can do is go to the website of the Ministry for Foreign Affairs. It's at www.mzz.gov.si. What I do is print out press releases and then carry them around with me. Then, when someone starts complaining, you know exactly what to say.
Michael, si slišal, kaj je naredil tisti bedak?
Kdo?
Ja, tisti idiot tam.
Kaj pa je naredil?
Premaknil je ograjo, ki jo je pred 50 leti dovolil moj stric. Ampak v zemljiški knjigi je označeno čisto drugače. Tisti butelj pa tega ne ve. Kakšen idiot je. Lepo sem mu povedal, pa vseeno nima pojma. Pa si ga videl, da se je zadnjič pripeljal z novim golfom? Odkot ima denar, hočem vedeti.
Pri tej zadevi naj opozorim na pomembnost dialoga in konstruktivna sodelovanja. Razvoj je lahko zagotovljen le v pogojih trajnega miru in stabilnosti v Evropi in svetu.
Kaj pa govoriš? Si zadet? Si pil?
Ta in drugi sporazumi med partnericami barcelonskega procesa odpirajo novo perspektivo za integracijo med južno-mediteranskimi partnericami.
Pa pojdi se solit.
I had an enlightening experience once. I was reading an interview with a Saudi man who had moved to Ljubljana. When he got asked the inevitable question,
Kakšni se ti zdimo Slovenci?
he said that he was shocked at how brutal they were to one another. That's the word he used, brutal. Think about that for a second. Just so that we're clear, Saudi Arabia is a country that still does public beheadings, where women aren't allowed to drive or go places alone, and where police routinely use torture. But here he was, shocked at how brutal Slovenes were to each other. That blows my mind. But what can be done? Sometimes I think Slovenia should establish a peacekeeping mission in Slovenia, like maybe a special task force that goes around the country and settles fights between neighbors. Think about all the energy that's lost when neighbors take each other to court, or siblings sue each other over an inheritance, or someone fights their općina for permission to do something. And think of all the time. With Slovenia's notoriously slow court system, these fights stretch out over epic amounts of time. If all these fights could be solved, and all that energy unleashed, I really think Slovenes would rule the world. I don't know if they'd be happy about it, though.
Michael, ne morem več poslušati našega soseda.
Kateri sosed?
Tistega bedaka tam. Odkar mi vladamo svetom, misli, da je nekaj posebnega. Kaki napihnjenec. Odkot misliš, da ima denar?
How to become a Slovene with Michael Mensky.